The 2025 Palisade is a carryover model, so it's the same as last year, but 2026 will be completely different. And if you don't like the new design, this one would be a good one to get, 2025 model. This is a calligraphy in the night edition. And the night edition basically adds a bunch of gloss black. Now it looks good with this white color, kind of gives it a stormtrooper vibe, I guess you can say. Full gloss black grille, looking pretty cool. Now you also have a gloss black wheel, of course. That's like a thing nowadays. And then you have a gloss black here on the side. Now they do break the gloss black theme a little bit with this kind of a smoked chrome here and here. Other than that, all the accents are gloss black, including the roof rails there. And I like the way the rear glass kind of appears to wrap around to the back of the vehicle. It's just because they black out this portion right here. The interior on the night edition looks really good. You have the more gloss black, of course. And then there's some stitching here. And check out that speaker grille. It's like a laser cut aluminum grille. It's the Harman Kardon sound system. I like that stitching. And these seats are a simulated suede and leather here. Looking good. Feel pretty good. I mean, they have on the driver's seat, it has a massage function. And the little things that massage the bottom part of the seat, they're kind of like sticking up too much to where it's just uncomfortable for me. Maybe it works fine for you, but that's the way it is for me. But yeah, this interior is looking pretty good on the night edition. If you like black, you know, especially all black interior, and then the black and white exterior is pretty cool as well. Yeah, here's the inside of the black edition here. This one has the captain's chairs, open center, heated and ventilated seats back here. That'll help out. The ventilated part will help out with the black interior, that's for sure. And it has two sunroofs. You can see one there in the front, and then you have a secondary one back here. There's actually two buttons, that button and this button, to move the seat to get to the third row. But first I want to show you the cargo mode. So you lift this up and it flops the seat down. It'll lock in place and it's almost completely flat with the cargo area. But if you want to enter the third row, you can press this button and it kind of spoons the seat forward like that to the other one. Then that way you can access the third row through here. And it has the latch system for car seats on this side, but not the other side. So just there on the right side, place for 2 passengers, realistically. And then you have fairly decent amount of legroom back here. Cup holders. There's the ability to recline the seats and heated, 3-stage heated seats in the third row. Interesting. And then USB port there, so you can see the controls on this side. And cup holders there. So yeah, pretty interesting. There's also cabin talk, which has microphones and stuff up here, so you can talk to passengers without hollering. And of course, these seats fold down to add to your cargo space too. These second row seats also have this little net pocket right there, which is pretty cool. That's a cool little feature. Just to have a little quick access place to put something. So it's a hard plastic here on the inside. If you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is how much cargo space you have. And it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. It's not bad. You can put some stuff back here. You also have a little bit of extra space under here as well. Pretty good amount of space, actually. And there's usually a cover on this jack, but so the tools for the spare tire are in this little bag, and then there's the jack, and the cover's missing for some reason. You see this little plug right here? That is for lowering your spare tire, which is located under the vehicle, which you probably saw in the beginning of the video. There's the subwoofer, tie downs. You can put a net pocket back here, 12-volt power supply. You also have the ability to move the seats. So if we need to move these seats out of the way, add to our cargo space, we can do it one seat at a time, which is really handy for leaving a car seat in place or having a passenger space left over. So let's go to the third row. You have the ability to lower and raise the third row. So we'll go ahead and lower this right one. You notice the headrest folds down for you, and it comes right on down. If thing's in the way, it'll stop and come back up. Don't ask me how I know that. Okay, so the second row, you can only lower it using these buttons. You have to manually lift it up, okay? So we'll go ahead and do the right one, and it just kind of flops down. So you got to watch out for kids and stuff like that getting in the way, because it does come down kind of hard. But you notice we've added a significant amount of extra cargo space here just by pushing those buttons. And we can continue to push those buttons and have a really wide open space, depending on our needs, add to our cargo space and just have a wide open, you know, cargo area. You can almost sleep back here, really, if you had a mattress. But yeah, really a lot of room back here when you start folding the seats down. And it's customizable, of course, as well. So lowering the power liftgate, it's just simple as pushing a button. The battery is easy to get to, does have insulation. Pretty interesting to change the air filter. You just pop that open and pull out the air filter. That's neat. All right, so this is a, the way the vehicle is designed as front wheel drive is this way. So you have the V6 position where this is the front of the engine, that's the back, and the transmission is located back here. Insulated firewall. Yeah, and also you notice the engine's kind of sunk down, so it lowers the center of gravity as well. For a vehicle this size, that helps out. The blind spot detection system, it has a little indicator here on the side mirror, actually on the glass, and the glass is a auto dim rear side mirror as well. The inside of the driver's door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. There's 2 presets for the power seat, and I like the way these buttons look. Really look good. And you have the lockout for the power windows for kids, and then the power windows themselves are one touch up and down. So even the rear glass, so I can press it, goes all the way down. It goes up and down, goes down quite fast, up a little bit slower. And there's the front, and it has the laminated glass as well. Door lock controls are here. Side mirrors are adjusted with this little pad. You just pick a side. And the power seat, of course, has to one-up the passenger side. So you have thigh extension, you have the raise, lower, tilt, all that stuff here. You also have a back massage. It's actually back and pelvic massage. You can customize it on the screen. It has adjustable bolsters and a 4-way lumbar adjustment. So yeah, one-upping the passenger seat once again. But yeah, these are pretty nice seats. To the left of the steering column, there's the dimmer switch to the interior gauges. Tow mode, traction control off, default is on. You can open up power liftgate here, and then the electronic parking brake, which engages the rear wheels. Actually, you see a little ambient light there. I'll show that in the night video. There's a tilt and a telescoping steering column as well. The heads-up display is fairly well done. It's nice and clear. It's not blurry in any way. It also has relevant information. The speedometer and all that stuff works well. And it shows you the status. While you're driving, it shows you the status of the lane keep assist system, but also when you have the highway driving assist system, it'll actually turn the little lines on there and stuff like that and give you little shadows showing where other vehicles around you are while you're driving. Only works on certain highways, but it does have that system not only on the screen here, but also on the heads-up display, which is kind of neat. Sitting in the driver's seat, I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the seat all the way down, all the way back. And the seat's a little bit high, just a tiny bit high. I mean, you would think that it would go a little bit lower. I mean, it's fine for me, but I mean, you know, maybe some people that are super tall or something might want it a little bit lower. But as far as just overall legroom, it's plenty. Lots of legroom here. And that high position kind of does feel like a chair, so it's actually pretty comfortable overall. The steering wheel, it's kind of interesting because the steering wheel is soft in some areas, but it's like kind of uncomfortable in other areas. Like right in here has like this little bit of a sharp edge, and I don't know, there's some places are good and some places are bad. And also, sometimes I like to hold the steering wheel right there, you know, or here on this steering wheel, it's kind of like I'll hold it in the center. But yeah, I don't know, it's a little bit different than other steering wheel, so it's one of those things you have to get used to it. It's not a big deal or anything, it's not bad, but it's just a little bit different. Has the paddle shifters here on the back. Here on the right side is the cruise control, and I love the fact that you can just press this one button, sets the cruise control, it turns it on and sets it at that same time. You can also change to the track, the speed here, and also you can set it. So once you have it turned on, if you hit the brake pedal or whatever, you can reset it by pushing that button here, or you can resume by pressing in on that button. You can pause or resume by pressing in on that little toggle. Sometimes it's hard to see those buttons, but hopefully you can see them there. This is the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Lane keep assist system, which is hit or miss. Sometimes it works good, sometimes it's like pulling you all over the road. And then it has this pages button and this OK and this right here, this little up and down. I'm gonna go over that. That corresponds with the screen. We'll get to that in a second. Here on the left side is the volume for the radio. Change to the tracks on the radio. Mode is the audio source. Voice recognition button. This is to answer or hang up on calls. And then this is a button that you can set up to do certain things, whatever you really want to do with it. And you set it up on the screen over here. Windshield wiper controls are here on the right side, front and rear. It also has rain sensing windshield wipers, so you can set it to auto and it'll turn on the headlight, the windshield wipers when it's appropriate, when they get wet, basically when the windshield gets wet. Turn signals over here. We also have the headlights switch, and I like the way it shows on the screen what you're doing. It does have the automatic function and the automatic high beams as well, which do not work well on this vehicle. Okay, so on this particular, maybe your vehicle might be different, but this one doesn't work well. So here is the screen, and it has this kind of traditional dial look, which you can change the way it looks. But right now it's showing the speedometer here on the left side, and the tachometer there, engine coolant temperature, fuel gauge over here. And you can see it needs fuel. Distance to empty is 36 miles. And then outside temperature and average fuel economy, 22 miles per gallon. Yeah, I guess so. And then in the center, you have additional information here, which this is where you can press this button right here. So this button, or sorry, this button and these buttons here. So the pages, I'm going to refer to that one as the pages button, and this one is the little toggle with the OK when you press in. So if I hit the pages button, you can see it cycles through. It gives me a digital speedometer. Right now it's showing a digital compass, but if you have a route set in the navigation, it'll pop up there, additional information. And then the tire pressure can show here. As you can see, it's part of a menu system. As I scroll through, it gives you little icons. So I'm just pressing the pages button, it's going to the next page. So you notice that this screen has these little bubbles here on the right side. So we can scroll up and down within this page and get more information. Some of them doesn't have that. This one does. So we got different information. This is showing, besides the tire pressure, which is not going to display right now, this one shows how much energy or how much power is going to the front and rear wheels. So since it has the all-wheel drive system, even though it's set up as a front-wheel drive vehicle, like I mentioned, with the engine, it is an all-wheel drive system, and it's able to, deliver power to the rear wheels. And this gives you like a visual reference to how much power is going where. And it also, of course, it depends on your drive mode and all that stuff. But yeah, right in here, digital speedometer's perfect, but you also have the heads-up display as well. So even if you don't have it displayed here, you have it up above. In the setup here on the screen, we can go to the cluster and change the cluster theme selection. So first of all, the first one is the cube. So kind of odd looking, gives us cubes with numbers in it. You also have the classic theme, and you have A, B, and C, and you can link these to the drive modes. But there's A, there's B, and there's C. So A is kind of like a normal, B is kind of like a sport mode, C is kind of like an eco mode. So if you link it to drive mode, that's what you'll get. I like C because A is a little bit bright at nighttime, these bright dials. B looks really cool, but it just reminds me of sport mode too much. So C is kind of like a, not too bright, but it looks good, and it's a nice, not bright, and it still looks good. It doesn't like look too overly like you're gonna driving in a race car or anything. So this is the 2024 model, but it doesn't have the new system that some of the other Hyundais have, but it still works really good. It has this main screen here, which you can see the little navigation map blending in. It has digital clock, also a calendar, shows the status of the radio, and outside temperature, different information there. When you slide over from the home screen, you actually have 3 different screens, here, here, and here. And it basically has icons, so like what you see on your cell phone or whatever. You can also customize this menu. So let's say you want to go over here and take the setup and move it. Well, you press that, and then you can press and hold the one you want, and then you can move it around and put it where you want to put it. So that's pretty cool. You can also reset it if you want. So yeah, it just kind of reorders the little icons here. Let's look at the map here. Media. Look at the satellite radio system here. It has album art and the ability to, have presets here on the left side. You can kind of scroll through. You can also have a number pad here and direct tune. So if you want to go channel 8, go there, that kind of thing. Navigation menus where you can look up different addresses. And of course your setup there for setting up the vehicle. Then your climate control can be shown here on the screen as well, which is pretty handy. But yeah, pretty good system. I like it. It's easy to use. It's big. And I wish this helps out with the camera system as well, which I'll show you that in a second. Below that is the volume for the radio, change to the tracks. Now these are redundant physical buttons that makes it easy to go to quickly go to different places on the screen here. Temperature, the climate controls down here. There's a little touch screen here as well. So you have the driver, passenger. You can also control the rear climate control, and it's pretty straightforward where you want the air to blow. Fan speed. Then there's your temperatures, and then of course you can sync both temperatures, or all the temperatures basically, using that button. You have the front and rear defrosters, recirculate the air, turn the climate control off. Also the automatic function has 3 different settings: low, medium, and high. So sometimes you just want to have it automatic, but you don't want it blasting air, so you can have it on low. If you want it blasting air, you can put it up to the high. It kind of forces it to do certain things. Of course, you can take control manually if you want. So right in here is the parking sensors. You can turn those on or off. Stop start feature, you turn off. Default is on. Here's the camera system. So press that button. Pops up this really good camera system. And so right now it's showing the top down view. It has 4 cameras, and it stitches all those views together and gives you this view around the vehicle. Right now it's showing behind the vehicle, and you can get different views, top down if you're backing up to a trailer, the wide view we saw, or the side of the vehicle. So there's the rear wheels, and we're looking down the side of the vehicle like so. Now if we put it in drive, we're going to have the front view, and when we're in the front view, we can see the top down, the front, or the front wheels. So we can actually look at the front wheel. So as I turn the wheel, you can see them popping out there. We can see right where we are in relationship to other things, and basically it just cuts out the car in the middle so we can focus there on the ends. We can also hit this button. It's kind of neat because it gives you like a render of what the vehicle looks like, and you can kind of look around, and your surroundings are actually real using the cameras. So if you want to look around and see what's around you, you can do that as well, including the top down. But we can always switch back if we want to. And it does have the active guidelines, so you can see where you're going, where the exterior of the vehicle is going to go as you turn the steering wheel. So yeah, the camera system's great. So if you're in drive, and if you're not in drive or reverse, you can always hit that button and pull up the camera system, which is really handy when you're, you know, pulling into a parking spot or something like that, and you just want to make sure that you're good. You can press that button and pull it up. So there is the shifter, and doesn't have like a big shift lever to get in the way. So it's just buttons. So you just hit the drive button, you're in drive. Neutral, you're in neutral. Reverse, you're in reverse. To put it in park, hit the park button. So it's pretty straightforward. So it's not not complicated. It's electronic anyway, whether you have a big old shift knob or not. So might as well keep it simple, I guess. Okay, so this is the cooled seats, 3-stage, heated seats, 3-stage, single stage on or off heated steering wheel, and then of course you have the heated and cooled seats for the passenger side. The auto hold button, that is to hold, when you turn that on, it basically just holds the brake for you when you come to a complete stop. So if you're sitting at a stoplight or whatever, you don't have to hold the brake. So it's one of those things if you want to use it. This is pretty neat. When you close this, it's like a little writing pad. You have a nice place to, you know, make a note or whatever, and it's a nice surface for that. You know, it's kind of like, not like, it's made to kind of as a writing pad, really. And then you press that button, and it kind of spring loads itself open. And speaking of that, you actually have these little spring-loaded cup holders as well, which is kind of neat. So you can get them out of the way if you want to utilize this space for other things besides cups. But if you want to use the cup holders, you can pop them out and use them. And they have little spring-loaded arms here as well. There's a USB port, and there's also a wireless charger here. It kind of extends up in there. So I don't know if you can see that, but if I put my cell phone in there, usually it'll charge with this case on. Sometimes it won't. Alright, so it's charging now. So yeah, this is actually pretty good. It kind of gets it out of the way. Now, your phone's not going to get, like if you're listening to a podcast or something, it's not going to get very good signal in there if there's a weak signal to begin with. So that's something to consider. And this is rubberized as well. So here's an armrest. Probably not big enough to share with the passenger. It's kind of rubbery soft, not super cushy, but it releases here. There's a little lever right here, and it's kind of spring loaded so it doesn't slap back down on you. There it is. And it has this little tray right here. Got some napkins in the way. Little quick access tray. You can put some stuff in there if you want. And then there's a wide open spot in here, and I got my business cards down in there. I'm gonna get those out of the way. So yeah, 12-volt power supply, USB port in there as well. So can't really see in there. Let me adjust the camera here. There we go. Now you'll be able to see. Yep, 12-volt power supply and USB port, and that is a USB-C port. And unfortunately, there's no light in this compartment. You can change through the drive modes here, and I have it turned off to where the views on the screen are not linked to the drive mode. So if I put it in different, like if I put it in sport mode, it's not going to show that sport screen right now. But you can have it linked. But it will show you what drive mode you're in right here, where it says sport. It also illuminates here on this dial as well. So you have comfort, which is the normal mode, sport, which is more emphasized performance over fuel economy. Not a huge difference that I can tell. And then smart mode is supposedly going to change based on your driving behavior. Eco is going to try to cut things back to give you the best fuel economy possible, really. But you know, it is going to take a hit on not only your acceleration and stuff like that, but also some of your climate control as well. And then you have a snow mode, which is intended for snow and slippery surfaces, basically. You also have the ability to lock the center differential. So if you're doing some off-roading, you know, you're definitely going to be needing that off-road capability of the all-wheel drive system. Then you can lock that, which will give you more of a more traction. Basically, you know, you're telling the vehicle that, hey, you know, we're off-road, and you know, in addition to the to the drive mode, you have the ability to lock the center differential and take full advantage of the all-wheel drive system in that sense. So the rear view mirror is also a rear view camera. So you got the mirror part, which is auto dimming, and then you got the camera portion, which is actually auto dimming too, because I got the shade over the light sensor, so it thinks it's dark. But you do have the ability to adjust the brightness and the angle of the camera as well. So you can increase and lower the brightness, or you can change the angle. Home link garage door opener controls are here as well. Up here we have some interior lights we can turn on, or we can have individual reading lights here. All these lights are backlit, which is nice. And then you can have them turn on with the door using that button. This is for the sunroof. Now this is the rear shade. This is the sunroof here. We'll get to that in a second. The headliner is a suede, simulated suede material. Same thing with the visor, has that same suede material. Has a little clip here, mirror, light. These extend out. Same thing basically on the other side. Okay, so that glass back there, you see that glass? Well, you got the sunroof here, and then you got that glass back there. And so the separate button is to open and close that rear shade back there. So we'll go ahead and close it. And so you can see it covers 100% of the light. Here in the front, you can use the switch to vent it, or you can open it. Press it again. Okay, that's as far back as it goes. And of course you can close the shade, and once again it blocks 100% of the light, and it has that simulated suede material up here as well. Looking at the visibility, so I have some seats down, some seats up, and you can see how the seats kind of impede your visibility a little bit, but also you have those pillars there. But overall, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, you have lots of windows and you can see pretty good. Of course, it has the camera system, blind spot detection system, parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, just a lot of features, technology to help you drive the vehicle safely regarding that. But you know, as far as visibility, I hadn't had any issues whatsoever. I mean, I'm leaning heavily on the sensors and the camera system though. Let's start off in comfort mode and see how it accelerates. So now let's try sport mode acceleration. When you're just cruising along and you have the cruise control on and you have the lane keep assist system, sometimes it works well. Sometimes it fights with you. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure exactly what's causing that. But so right now it seems to be working fine. And the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, when you adjust it, it's a little bit close on the lowest setting, which is number 1, but when you have it on 3 or 4, it's fine. And also it'll vary depending on how fast you're going. It's relatively quiet, unless you're accelerating fast or something like that. You don't hear the engine. There's not a lot of road noise, depending on, you know, how rough the road is that you're driving on. But exterior noise are kept out pretty good, and road noise is fairly decent, and engine noise is nice and quiet. Unless you're revving the engine, and then you'll hear it. I really like the blind spot cameras. So when you put the turn signal on, it'll show you the view right there in your blind spot on either side here on the dash. But it's handy for changing lanes, but also if you're making a turn, especially if there's like a curb there and you're trying to avoid it, that's kind of sticking out. You get a view right on that line, right where your vehicle is next to you. So as you turn, you can see right where you're at in relationship to other things. So yeah, these cameras are really good, these blind spot cameras. in addition to the regular cameras that's here. This vehicle stays relatively flat. For a big 3-row SUV type vehicle, it stays relatively flat in the cornering. There's not a lot of leaning or anything. Feels good, feels tight. Braking is really good too, so I can really stop fast without, you know, being all dramatic about it, you know, like the vehicle's not like flipping out, trying to slow down. When you walk up to the vehicle with the key, it has the full proximity key system, and when you get to a certain point, it senses the key and it turns on the side light, which illuminates the ground, also the handle here, but no other lights turn on. Now when we hit the unlock button, the exterior lights turn on, headlights, tail lights. Some of the interior lights turn on as well, but we still have this approach light here. If we remote start the vehicle, go ahead and remote start it using the key. It starts up, so you can see some lights flashing there. But then it goes completely dark. There's no lights, interior or exterior lights when it's running. I have the headlight switched to the complete off position, and we have these super bright LED daytime running lights on right now. And I'll show them to you in a second, but I just want to show you that when you have the headlight switch to the off position, you still could potentially mistake these as headlights. You don't have any tail lights though. So the only way to turn these lights off is if you turn on the parking brake. But this allows you to drive the vehicle like this, thinking you might have your headlights on because they're so bright here. So let's switch to the parking lights. And the parking lights are quite a bit dimmer. It's the same lights, but they're much, much dimmer. And I don't know why. When you put it on off, those lights are just super duper bright. It doesn't make any sense to me because a lot of people drive around with no tail lights because they think they have their headlights on and they have their switch in the off position. So these are pretty cool looking DRLs, looking pretty nice, LEDs. There's also an amber side marker here on the front. There's a side marker here in the back in red, and the tail lights kind of wrap around to the side. So you can kind of see them. They're red in color. Looking pretty cool, red LEDs. They have a little accent here as well. Accent lights here in the back. It's pretty neat. Turn signal here in the front is an amber. It's fairly bright, and it has a lot of surface area here, so you can see it pretty good. It's right there above where the headlights will be. We'll show you that in a second. And then you can see the turn signal indicator here on the side mirror, and it has a nice light there on the front, kind of like an arrow. And then there's also one here on the side. All this can be seen from the front, the side, and the back. And then the turn signal here in the back is amber, and it's still in the headlight housing here, but it's a fairly decent position. Amber in color. Looking pretty good. Now the brake lights and the reverse lights. The reverse lights are there at the bottom, and so they're kind of more in the center, 2 of them, and they do a pretty decent job of illuminating behind the vehicle. Okay, so let's switch. There's the off position. Let's go to the actual headlights here so you can see the difference. The brightness is close to the vehicle instead of far away from the vehicle. So let's look at the low beams here, and it's a projector low beam. And you see there's one above the other. The lower portion is actually the high beams, and the upper portion is the low beams. This is basically just a projector tube there, and it's pretty cool. We'll look at it going down the road. There's some issues with the low beams and the high beams. I was kind of surprised. And the automatic high beams are usually Hyundai does a pretty good job with those, but this one does not work at all. All right, so if I dip down, these are about 2.5 feet off the ground. All right, so let's go to the high beams. Go ahead and there we go, high beams. So now the high beams add to the low beams. So you see separate lights, separate projectors here. And then that way you're adding to the light, you're not just refocusing it. So it has, you can see 2 of them there. So now those are all the lights on. So you have the kind of accent light now, daytime running light, which kind of turns into an accent light, and then you have the low and the high beams. This cargo light is, it's okay. It's just funny because a vehicle like this, they just have the single light here, and it's okay. It shines right here in the center, but you can tell there's lots of dark areas. So dark all in here, and you know, I mean, there's just shadows everywhere depending on what you have. But overall, it's kind of interesting because it actually does a decent job because of the brightness. So while usually this type of setup is poor, and I think it still is poor, it definitely could be better, but it's not as aggravating as some other ones, you know, it's because of the brightness of that light. It's kind of interesting because the third row is like completely dark. So you can see this whole entire, there's some controls over there that are backlit, but there's no like dome light back here at all. Very odd that there's no light back here. The only light, like the cargo light should come on or something to illuminate that area. But the cargo light only comes on when I open up the hatch there. So very interesting. Now you can reach up. There is a switch on it if you want to turn it on. But, you know, if you want to have it turn on with the door, it just doesn't do that. Very strange. The inside of the back door, there's no puddle lights. There's no pocket lights or anything like that. All this is dark. The only thing we have is a window switch that's illuminated, but there's also an accent light here, an ambient light that turns off when you open up the door apparently, but it does have it. I'll show you that when we get inside. You can see it there on the dash, but for some reason when you open the door, the accent lights turn off on the doors. And then you can see the lights here, basically right there in the center, illuminates in the center of the second row. Back row is completely dark for some reason, but we do have, you know, a little bit of light here, not all that great. Then there's some backlit buttons here for the climate control and stuff. But down here is some power inverter, 12-volt power supply, both dark. But this is all backlit illuminated. The inside of the front door, there's no puddle lights or anything like that. No pocket lights. Do have backlit buttons here, and of course that accent light will turn on when you shut the door. The lights here are coming from the center, and they shine in the center part. There's also a light under here as well. I don't know if you can see that compartment light, which is pretty cool. It's kind of hard to get to that compartment. It's like, let's put storage space down next to your ankles, you know, like it's kind of or your knees. It's kind of a weird spot to put stuff. So this is what it looks like with the door open, the interior lights. And you can see the door, when I shut it, the ambient light turns on. And it kind of illuminates some areas. It's kind of somewhat functional as far as the light when you have it turned up bright like this. It's pretty neat looking. And so maybe that's why they didn't put any other lights here on the door, I guess. There's some backlit buttons here. Here on the steering wheel. There's the gauges. There's a screen. All these backlit buttons here. This compartment does have a light in it. So this is where you have cup holders, a little storage area, and a wireless charger, USB port, that kind of stuff. Turn on the interior light so you can see what you're looking at. So you can see there it does have a little bit of a light there. It does help out a little bit. This center console is completely dark. Let me turn on the interior lights so you can see no light in there. Kind of odd. Not all that good. Let's take a look at the glove compartment. Yeah, there's a light in the glove compartment. Kind of surprised at this point. But yeah, nice bright light there. So yeah, this is pretty good. Now, there's a couple, that compartment down there is, you know, like I said, it's kind of hard to see from my angle. So maybe from this angle you can kind of see it. It does have some lights in there, so that's good. I wish they had it in the center console. It's very odd. Okay, so up here there's the rear view, the rear camera. Instead of rear view mirror, which you do have the rear view mirror, but you also have the rear view camera, and that works really good at night and day. Same thing with the camera system here. Go ahead and turn that on. So you can see, whoa, camera's blowing it out. And turn the brightness down here. So yeah, you can see the lines good and you see all the way around. Alright, there's reverse, there's drive, and you see the different views there. Up here we have some lights, and it's actually illuminated, so the button to turn on the interior lights is illuminated, which is good. And then you have these little reading lights here and here, which illuminate. It's kind of like in your lap area. And then of course you have other ones there that are backlit. And then the visor has a mirror, which also has a light, which turns on when you open the mirror. This is pretty cool. The heads-up display, or head-up display, however you want to say it, looks really good, day or night. It's a little bit on the dim side, even when I turn it up, the brightness really high. But it's still easy on the eyes. It's not distracting. It has relevant information, and just really well done head-up display. The side mirrors do have the auto-dimming function, so depending on your situation, if there's light or whatever, right now it just went away for some reason. But it does have the auto-dimming side mirrors, as well as this mirror here if you don't have the camera on. The dimmer switch for the interior gauges has a lot of adjustment. So you can see the bar right here. It says illumination when I move it. So let's go all the way to the bottom, right there. And it's not just the gauges, it's a lot of lights. So as I go forward, you can see it gets very bright. Very bright. That's 100% right there. So there's 50%, and then let's go down to 1. Basically goes all the way down to 1, and then there's 100. So that, yeah, it gets super bright. Everything does. So let me bring that back down. Really, a comfortable level will be like 20, something like that. Okay, so we're going to setup right here, and then we go to vehicle. We scroll down to where it says lights, ambient light. And then we can have the brightness adjustment here. I have it on 10. That's that purple light you see. You can adjust the brightness all the way to off. Go all the way to 10. You can also change the color. So it has different colors here. Polar white, moon white, ice blue, ocean blue, jade green, orchid green, freesia yellow, sunrise red, aurora purple, lightning violet, which we originally had. And then you can customize a color. So if you go right here to custom color, set custom color, you can set what you want. So let's go like the hot pink or whatever. Now we go to, when we choose custom color, that'll be the one that we had previous set up. But I like this purple color, or the lightning violet actually is the one I like. Looks pretty cool. But all of them look good. So here's the headlight pattern on this fence. And it has this shadow. I don't know if you can see that shadow there. But the shadow is intended to be on the oncoming lane while you're driving. So it's kind of like this little notch that as you're going up and down hills, it has a little bit of a extra space there, I guess, to avoid blinding oncoming drivers. But this particular vehicle, that shadow, more often than not, stays in my lane. It's supposed to be a little bit more to the left, so the headlights probably need to be adjusted or something on this particular vehicle. But we'll see how it goes. Also, the automatic high beams are terrible. Like there'll be a car like right there in front of me and it'll turn on the high beams, that kind of stuff. So I just turn that off because it's just unreliable and to some degree dangerous. Okay, so you can see that shadow right now is actually lined up fairly well on the oncoming lane. We don't have hardly any shadow in my lane. It is a little bit, but it's supposed to be, more so in that lane. There's a lot of times where, just a shadow right in front of the vehicle. All right, so you can see it's doing its job. We can see the road. We can see the side of the road. And these aren't like super bright headlights, but they do the job. Now I would say kind of, medium, not bad, but not excellent or anything like that. Okay, so there's the low beams. Now I'm going to switch to the high beams. And the high beams are pretty good. In most scenarios, the high beams work really good. But you'll notice there's the low beams. They're okay. But the high beams, they're adding the same brightness. So it's an additional light that adds to the low beams, which is good. Because we just don't have that much. The lights aren't super bright. So even when the automatic high beams, like shine to other cars, the other cars didn't flash me back, they are bright, but they're not overly bright where they're not, I think they could be brighter is what I'm saying. They're not that bright, but they do like a minimum system requirements job of the headlights. The fill is really good though. Like the filling in of the ground all the way up into the trees and everything, I think it does a good job. It's fairly evenly lit considering you have 4 projectors that are overlapping the light. There's not a lot of patchiness going on other than that ridiculous shadow. And yeah, they do a good job. And the height is actually important. Like we're just on kind of flat roads, very, very little hills here. But if you had more of a steeper hill, that additional height for the high beams can come in handy. So you can see there's a little bit of separation there, between the low beams and the high beams as far as shadows sometimes on certain scenes, certain views when we're going up and down hills. But it does a good job as far as on level ground like this. You can kind of be the judge. I'm kind of like thinking these could be better, but at the same time they're working okay. So I'm right in the middle of saying it's hard to complain about them when they're doing the job, but at the same time I think they could have been a little bit better. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you can see this in the video accurately. I have the brightness turned up quite a bit on the camera, so it may look brighter than what they are. So, and that's sometimes a problem because I have to turn the brightness up for you to see the pattern. If you actually saw it the way I saw it, then the one you play it on your phone or whatever, you're not going to the videos can be hardly worth watching. It'd be too dark or whatever. But at least you get a general idea of what they look like, and also my opinion about them. So hopefully this video has been helpful.